there, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I'm going to try to vlog this weekend. I am doing a writers retreat festival type thing with Story Studio Chicago. So this weekend's going to be full of writing classes and activities. And tonight is the first night. Tonight is like a kick-off party type situation at their normal office. And I honestly didn't really know what to wear for this. So this is the outfit I'm wearing. I got these new earrings, and then I'm going to be wearing the rings that I normally wear when I go out. All of these are either like my wedding ring or family rings that have been handed down or passed down. I thought the pearls look nice with the polka dots. If you know me, I love me some polka dots. I have a purse I use in the regular that is black and white polka dots. So I'm just doing polka dots today, and then I'm wearing like normal black pants. Can you see? I'm sure you guys love the quality of this video. Oh my god. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing tonight. But anyway, so this is what I'm wearing for the kickoff party tonight. This is my starter tester outfit because it's a little corporate, but she's a little sexy. She's covered up completely, but she's still a little sexy. And I don't know. I feel like this is a good sort of conversation-y outfit. I don't know. So let me know below if you like it or not. I'm going to try to film some of the party there without filming people. I don't know how that's going to go. I might just put in like travel footage like last time. And then tomorrow I'm going to try to film more of the classroom settings and stuff, like me setting up and like talk to you about which classes I chose to take, because it's like different breakout sessions at different time periods, and within each hour there's like 2 or 3 options for different classes you can take. So I'm going to let you guys know all the classes I take, and I'm going to also try to get footage of the keynote speaker and all that jazz, and then that's going to go on for Saturday and Sunday, and then by the end of Sunday I'll probably wrap up this video as well. So yeah, that's basically what this video is. It's another vlog, and I know you guys hate vlogs, but I felt like this could be a constructive one. Like, since this is a learning experience for me, I want to be able to share some of the stuff I learned for you guys too. So yeah, so if you're a writer, or if you're somebody who's interested in writing and you want to be able to do these kinds of events but you don't have them in your area, that's what I'm here for. So yeah, just if that sounds interesting to you, just keep watching this video. Okay.
Faces? No, not those faces. And I'm gonna argue with
This is the first thing we've done in Story Studio ever. This is great. Oh my god. Fantastic. Yay. We're so excited. We're so excited. So just a quick introduction to
narrative stories or books you've read.
residency. I have it actually just scribbling down here. Often people used to call these writers' colonies us colonies. The term Can you hear me? Yes? Just I'm tall. So. Alright. Everybody good? Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for that introduction, and thank you all so much for being here. Obsession with beauty or physical, beauty culture. I see the threads there. We're like, yeah, this is okay, welcome to Roar. It's a thrill to be able to speak with you. I'm going to give you 10 minutes at the end just to ask questions, just so you have particular questions about Roar, I can address them. It's a huge topic. So I asked you to write what this project is about. Stop on page 3 or page 100, or really close to one of the other. Sometimes it was that they hadn't started. But the people stuck on page 30, it was like, I had this great idea, and I sat down, and I started writing, and I wrote, it was really fun, and then I realized I had no idea what I did. And the ones stuck on page 100, or thereabouts, were more like, I had a plan, and I had a lot of experience, and I even gave an outline, and I got seriously connected with it. I'm thrilled at how many of you are new to the studio. You're all on the mailing list now, so you'll see things from us.
Hey, it's me. I don't know what the heck happened. This is Monday after the weekend, and you're getting barefaced me because for some reason I am just not feeling good. I've been coughing a lot this morning. I hope nobody gave me anything over the weekend because I'll be pissed. But yeah, so I'm not feeling very good, and I have an OBGYN appointment later today. So after this whole weekend of like getting dolled up, I guess, I was just like, nah, fam, we're not doing it today. So this video, you get barefaced me with glasses and a whack ass bun. You're welcome. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about my experience this weekend at Story Studio Chicago's Writers Festival. But yeah, I had a good time. It was definitely a whirlwind of information for sure. Like every hour was scheduled on the dot. I did feel like Saturday was more like high paced or fast paced, and it just felt like it was like more bam 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 than Sunday. Sunday there was a couple lull periods where I could actually check my phone. That was the main difference, and I think technically there was more presentations on Saturday than Sunday. One, everybody there loved my outfits. I was the belle of the ball. Everyone kept talking about my clothes, and I got called a fashionista. And apparently that was what I was known for because people were coming up to me and talk to me about my clothes, which is really funny because like Like, yes, I have good taste, thank you, but, like, none of the clothes I wear are very expensive at all, like, trust and believe. Some of those outfits were from my Shein days. So, yeah, but I still took the compliments, I thought it was really nice. I kinda talked about it in the beginning. Part of me wanted to dress up because I wanted to make a good impression, but also part of me also wanted to dress up because Mona Awad is gonna be there, and if you guys don't know, she's one of my favorite authors. Bunny is, like, my all-time favorite book. I always recommend it to people, and they always look at me sideways, but, um, I just freaking love her, and I know that she is, like she cares about clothes when she's writing about characters and stuff. So I kind of wanted to catch her attention too, and that's why I really wanted to put my best foot forward for that. Unfortunately, I made a complete I was the I really messed up. I like was a complete dork in front of her. I'll put in the picture, but so she was the keynote speaker on Saturday, right? And she had like a little lecture almost, and I took notes on that, and then afterwards there was like a meet and greet book signing situation happening, and you best believe that I was the first in line. Maybe not the first, maybe like the third, but I was I was got there really quick, and I brought my own personal copy of Bunny with me. You guys know I featured this in my pink horror video. This is like quintessential modern horror for me. I think she's a genius. I love how she writes. I've also read Rouge. I like Rouge a lot. And then while I was there, I also bought All's Well, but I didn't have her sign this one because I didn't know if I would this is my favorite or not. Like I wanted my favorite book to be signed. Maybe I should have gotten them both signed. I don't know. But I'm in 2 chapters into this and the writing is phenomenal. Like this is so bitchy. I love it. Oh my god. So I know I'm really gonna like this one. But again, circling back, Bunny is my favorite book of all time, and I went up to her and she signed it. But I kind of like embarrassed myself really badly because I started crying. Here's the signature. Bam. That's my name. That's Mona's name. Amazing. Okay. Yeah, I started crying when I saw her, and I was waiting in line. I could feel myself tearing up, and I was like, "No, bitch, don't, don't." I was like, "Please don't, please don't, please don't." And then I saw her, and we made eye contact, and the tears started flooding, and I was like, "Oh no." So then I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Oh no, I said, "I'm sorry. I'm just super excited to meet you." Like I tried to get some words out, but I felt like they weren't coming out very well. And I was like, "Oh shit, I hope I'm not freaking her out." Um where I was just like, "Oh, I'm just really excited. I'm sorry. Like I just said this is like my favorite book. I'm just so excited to be here." And then she said, "Oh, you're sweet." And I was like, "Okay." So then she signed my book. We had like a tiny tiny conversation. And then like I felt weird. So like she kind of told me to DM her something. I'm not gonna say what we talked about. But she wanted me to DM her after the fact. I DM'd her and I tried to be cute. I sent emojis and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry for crying." I was just really excited. You're one of my favorite authors. And I was just like overwhelmed with the experience, but I'm really appreciative of you coming and I'm looking forward to your class tomorrow because on Sunday she actually taught a class called Playing with Shadow, and it was about writing horror specifically, which is the whole point of why I went to this event because I was like, when in this timeline am I ever going to be able to uh, be in the city and take a class from one of my favorite horror writers of like this of this age? Like I was like, I can't miss this. So that was the main reason I signed up for this weekend festival thing. So she taught her class on Playing with Shadow. I took a ton of notes for that. I think I showed them on screen. Yeah, I was just fascinated, and it's just the way she thinks. And like, okay, maybe I'm like mind blown because I didn't get an MFA in writing. I took creative writing classes in college and in high school. But I kind of talked about being an English major and then I switched gears for a minute for a long time. And now I'm coming back to writing. So I don't have an MFA. So I don't think I have the terminology when it comes to creative writing that these people do, or necessarily the structure too. I kind of be working off of vibes and intuition. And just the way she explained things, or the way like she talked about craft and like organized these things that I knew about horror kind of already just through experience of like consuming it and like writing it myself. But the way it was just it felt awesome. That's all I can say. It felt awesome. If you want me to do like a video just dedicated to that class and the things I learned, I think that might be a good idea. But let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in something like that. But anyway, so I was enjoying this class, And then I I did another cringe thing where I was like, okay, so like I had a backpack with me the whole time with like some notebooks and my lunch and stuff like that. And I also brought a copy of Cursed Images with me. My book. I have multiple books, but this is my most popular one. So I brought a copy of this with me. And I did that just in case, like, because I was meeting other authors there. So yeah, I was meeting other authors there, and we were all talking about what we're working on and stuff. And I talked about like projects I was working on right now, but it's kind of hard because it's like a sequel short story collection. Um, and so in order to fully understand what I'm doing now, it kind of helps to have the context of what I already did. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just bring this along. If people are interested, I'll like show it to them. And I showed it to a couple of people and they seemed like they were interested. Some people took a picture of the cover and stuff. Um, like it's hard because I wanted to like make new author friends and stuff. But you're also have to be in this mindset space of like putting yourself out there too. So yeah, I did that. Maybe that's a little cringe. I don't know. But the next thing I did was mega cringe. I got after the class, I got my book cover out. And I don't know what in me got the confidence or balls or courage to do this, but I went up to the stage where she was and my in my little pipsqueak voice, I was like, "Excuse me." And she looks down at me and I just was like, "Oh, I just wanted to say sorry for crying and I just think you're amazing and I love your book and I hope you don't think this is forward of me, but I wanted to give you an apology gift." And then I handed her my book and she's like, "Oh, did you write this?" And I was like, "Yeah, you don't have to read it." um, but I just wanted to say thank you for coming here and this means a lot to me. And then I don't remember what she said because could feel my eyes tearing up again. And I was like, dang it. And then I ran away. So she probably thinks I'm crazy. Like, I don't know. And like I was so embarrassed and I know other people saw me cry and I know other people saw me did that like do that because when I was crying, this guy came up to me and he was like, "Wow, this was really special for you, huh?" And I was like, yeah, I guess I was like trying to run away and like wipe my tears and like not have it get in my makeup and stuff and yeah. I even left like because on Saturday they after the book signing you could get us food and like drinks too and I originally intended on staying but then when I cried I was like this feels weird. So I just ended up going right home after that. Like I talked to that guy for a little bit. I think he was trying to mac on me and he didn't even show up the next day. So I don't know what that's about. But anyway, no tea, no shade. But yeah, so that was going on. And then I was just like, I just want to get out of here. And so I left because I was embarrassed because I cried. And then I was also embarrassed after I gave her my book, even though I mean, again, it's really forward and maybe she'll read it, maybe she'll like it, maybe she'll throw it in the trash. I don't know. I have anxiety over that. But anyway, I know I know she's just a person, but for me, she's like a rock star. So I was really embarrassing. And then I made like a little friend there. And her and I hung out a lot and she saw me do that and I told her that I had cried previously. And she was like, "Oh, looks like you got a do-over." And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "But I gave her my book and I don't know if that was cool to do." And then she was like, "Well, I wish I had something to give her." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So maybe it wasn't a bad idea. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Was that a bad idea?" Was that weird to me? Cuz it's like she's so accomplished. It's like she's so accomplished. Like why would she want my stuff? Truthfully, I felt like when like a little kid hands somebody like a paper drawing and you really don't know what the heck it is. Like that's literally what I felt like. So, um, yeah. So that was my experience. So that's the second highlight is me crying. And like I try to laugh it off as a joke, right? I made like a post about it on my Instagram and my threads. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'll post it here on YouTube too. Um, after I edit this video, I'll post pictures from it. But like I try to make a post and make it funny about like, oh my god, oh I cried. Like you can't take me anywhere type situation. So maybe I laughed it off. I don't know, but yeah. What else? Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys maybe some of the other stuff I got. When we got there, we got this tote bag. That was pretty cool. The Writers Festival 2024, and that's what it looks like on the back. And then inside of it I had a bunch of stuff, just like freebies. Like most of it was like stuff about programming information. So this is a nonprofit that tries to help people who are interested in writing, write and get published and help the community. I guess I don't know. This is a bookmark. Can you see it? Woo. Um, yeah, this goes into the pile of bookmarks that I just have on the side. There's also information about classes they're offering in the winter. So if you guys are interested in that, here you go. Um, Sometimes they'll have like free write-ins. I only did free stuff up until this point. I think if you saw my last vlog, I went to a free write-in where people just worked collectively together and then they got lunch. But a lot of their classes you kind of have to pay for, and some of them are a little expensive. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna be so transparent with you. Okay, so this weekend I think cost me like $600, which again is really expensive for a lot of people, and I totally acknowledge that. I kind of did the math in my head, and I was like, well, for 2 days of classes, like back to back to back, like normally like their cheaper classes I think go for $60. You can take you pay $60 so you can take a certain class with them. Some of them that like, because sometimes the class only meets once, and then sometimes they have classes that meet over and over again throughout the span of a semester or month or whatever. Those tend to be a little bit more expensive, and I haven't done any of those. But the way I figured it, I was like, okay, well, that's like their usual rate for classes. I think I took maybe like around 10 classes total over the weekend. And one of those was being taught by Mona Awad herself. And I got to meet her and sign my book, and I got a lecture from her. So for me, I was like, well, that justifies the price for me, especially since she does teach an MFA program over the university, over in Syracuse in New York, and it's cheaper than an MFA type class. So that's kind of what justified it for me. I thought it was worth the price, so that's why I spent that money this weekend. But yeah, they have other classes. I'm not really sure if I'm going to do any of them. I'm still like debating. They have this thing called pub crawl, which is like meant to help you learn how to pitch to agents and like will get you in front of agents and editors and stuff. I think this is around $200. I don't know if I want to do this because it's in February of 2025 and I don't really have a complete project that I feel comfortable pitching in front of an agent right now. I am working on the second short story collection, but I don't know if traditional publishing really likes short story collections. I feel like that's mostly a thing for indie and small presses. So, oh, and they have a book in a year program, where it's like again, it's something you pay for, but they have people work with you year long to try to encourage you to finish a book. Oh wait, let me show you this other thing I got. I got this book. There you go. Bam. Okay, anyway, that's everything I got. I'm going to put this over here. The one thing I noticed though was that, and I just want to preface, I did not get this vibe from the instructors at all. All the instructors that I met were lovely. I have been following a few of them on threads for a little bit, so I kind of like knew who they were before I went in and met them. And again, they're lovely people, but I got this vibe, and maybe this is me being completely wrong. Um, that some people, one had money to spend, apparently. Um, one had money to spend, and two were taking classes that were more of like, this is how you get motivated and stay motivated, and kind of bordered on self-help, which is fine. I took one of those classes too, and I really enjoyed it. Most of the stuff that I was interested though was more practical things about craft because I don't have that knowledge. A lot of people there had MFAs or were graduating from an MFA program or wanted to get into an MFA program. And while I think that's helpful, and like obviously I'm biased because I don't have an MFA, while I think that's helpful, I don't think it's necessarily a requirement to be an author and a writer. And in fact, like some of the speakers there did not have an MFA, or they were just like currently in the process of getting one. Um, so yeah, anyway, I think it helps with like connections and again learning the formalities and like the structure of what you're doing. But I got this, like, when I told people I published independently online, I kind of got weird looks, especially from the MFA type crowd. I think that there is some unspoken believed hierarchy between those who go a traditional academic route and those who are just learning through experience. I felt that there from some folks, again, not the instructors. It made me feel like, and maybe this is just my own shame coming out, but it made me feel like some people didn't take me as seriously because of that. But at the same time, uh, I was ahead of them in ways that I think maybe challenged some preconceived notions of what they had to be like a successful writer. Like, again, this wasn't everyone. The majority of people I met were lovely, lovely, lovely. And I'm so thankful. Like, we added each other on Instagram, and some of us talked about forming a writing group in Chicago, and I'm really looking forward to that. Um, it was just a couple of people in particular who made me feel that way. And I think when I was talking about, like, I already have experience in marketing in a way because I post on social media, and I've been posting on social media for a while about my work and what I'm doing. A lot of the people I met there surprisingly didn't even have certain social media accounts or any social media accounts at all. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But it's just like, if there's certain aspects of being a creative where you kind of, you need to be perceived, you need to be seen in a way, or at least your work needs to be perceived and seen if you want people to buy it and read it. That I don't think people consider because people want to be aloof artists and like not care about that kind of stuff and be above it. I don't know. So I think when people saw, because I would not say I have a big following at all. Like, you see my subscriber count on YouTube. Hey, girl. I don't have a big following at all. But I do have enough of a following where I could like start to dip my toes into certain spaces. Whereas these people didn't think about doing that at all. And so I think some of them felt behind in that regard. And I got a snippy comment from one person about that. So that was interesting. And again, you don't necessarily have to do that. There's some people who, like, this one woman was speaking on a panel of like what I wish I knew, right? And she literally said that like when she got picked up, she had 200 followers on her personal Instagram because it was just family and friends. And her publisher was like, okay, well, we're not going to have you market it because like that's not going to make a difference, right? I think from what I understood, and when I was talking to other people too, like when they were in their MFA programs, they got polarizing advice. So some people were like, you don't need to be on social media at all. You don't need to do this. Like, this is the publisher's job to market your book, yada, yada, yada. And then other people got different advice where it's like, oh, you really need to be online and you really need to hit the ground running to push your book out, and you need to do this and you need to do this. And it's like, um, I think in some regard, like sometimes social media stuff doesn't really come naturally to people. I don't think it comes naturally to anyone, to be honest. I think if it comes naturally to you, you have to be like a specific type of personality. And this is what it is, honestly. Because some of the people that were writing, they didn't have anything concrete. They didn't have a portfolio, they didn't have a catalog. They were just there off of vibes. And again, nothing wrong with that. But it's like you cannot progress or move forward if you do not try. If you're afraid of failing, especially failing online and looking stupid and looking silly, then I'm sorry, you're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Because you almost have to be like, I put this book out. I think it's good. Some other people think it's good, but why should people care, right? And in this day and age, some people buy books because they like the author, they like their personality, or the cover's pretty or whatever. And it's kind of like you have to be open-minded enough to be like, okay, well, I have to be vulnerable. Like, that's the whole point of creating art, right? Like, you have to be vulnerable. That's why I didn't understand why people looked at me funny, because I am being vulnerable, right? I'm putting my stuff out there. It's on Amazon. It's nothing fancy, but I'm trying, and like I'm putting myself out there. I'm making friends in person now, but I was making friends online a long time ago, and it's like a lot of people complain they didn't have that community, but it's like I know other authors from Instagram. Like, I looked for that during the pandemic when I felt so alone. I was like, I need help. I need support. I need to find people like me who are just like trying their best. And I found them. Um, and now I found people like that in person too. But I feel like it's hard because it is really hard to be vulnerable. But if you are vulnerable in your writing, you kind of have to be vulnerable now in person too, right? Like, you can't necessarily hide. And I think maybe that's why people were kind of like jarred at first. Not jarred, but I got a lot of compliments on my outfits, right? People really focused on that, like that I was putting myself together and I looked good, and standing out. But like, that's the point. I think authors are introverted people, and like, don't get it twisted. This is normally what I wear when I'm at home by myself, is like leggings, sockies, and sweatshirts and stuff, right? When push comes to shove, I push myself and I'm like, this is Cassidy. This is who I am. This is my personality. This is what I'm about. I'm going to be friendly. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to talk, right? I'm just going to be myself. And some people are going to like that, some people won't. Just like you put your work into your book, some people are going to like it, some people won't. And like, having that mentality early on, I think is really helpful, because when you get in the big leagues, right, I feel like that's just going to be magnified like a 10,000%, right? And if you are somebody who hasn't exposed yourself to little failures yet, then like, you're going to have a hard time dealing with that further down the line. There were some people that were already querying, and like, props to them, because honestly, like, querying really messed me up. When I did do that, like for Cursed Fate and Wicked Breed, I did try querying Cursed Fate in the beginning, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I was very overwhelmed. I was doing that simultaneously with applying for jobs during the pandemic. It was just really hard time. My mental health was in the toilet, and I just decided to stop doing that because I really needed to protect my peace. And I think that was what pushed me a lot to self-publishing, because I was like, okay, I want to get this out there, but I don't have the mental bandwidth to deal with this right now. So instead of waiting and having it sit in the closet forever, I'm just going to put it out now. And if people buy it, great. If they don't, fine. And that's kind of been my approach to things right now. I've said this before, like, would I want to query and have a publisher help me out with this in the future? Yeah, I really do. It's a lot to do by yourself, and it's a lot of hustle and grind culture. There was two panelists in particular that talked about that. One of them was a poet who also writes in fiction, and she was talking about how much she had to hustle in the beginning of her career because she didn't have an agent or a PR person at all. And she was cold calling, emailing, trying to get connections on social media, trying to get to know people, and she was showing up at these events and selling books at events and stuff. So much so that people were like, "Okay, who's your PR person? Like, they're fantastic." And she's like, "Well, it's me, because some of us have barriers. Not all of us can afford to go to an MFA program. Not all of us can afford to drop this money on these sorts of classes for networking opportunities and stuff like that. It's really hard. Like, this was an exception for me. This is something I told myself that I deserved to spend money on, something that I really thought could help me progress as a writer, and make these sorts of connections. And again, meet one of my favorite authors. So I was very excited about that. But I had to justify that for myself, right? I had to justify it for myself. And like, Douglas was on board from the get go, right? But still, not everybody can afford to do that. And like, Story Studio does have sort of scholarships or financial aid for some of their classes that you can apply for and apply through. If you really want to do something like this in Chicago, and but you can't drop that kind of money, they do have programs like that. Like, you can check on their website. They have things you can apply for to help out with that. Um, but yeah, it was interesting because and I was talking about Cynthia Paleo, who I follow on Threads, and she was one of the instructors on there. She was talking about how she started out too. She was actually self-publishing when she started out, and she's a Bram Stoker award-winning author. Like, she's a big deal right now. But she said she started self-publishing because she was like, I don't know how to do this. I'm on my own. She had an interesting history where like her parents didn't get past a sixth grade education. So she was really the first person in her family to be in a college environment in general. And she was like, I don't know how to do this. I am learning as I go. She was a journalist for a while before she switched to creative writing. And she just started self-publishing, right? And then eventually she told me eventually she got picked up, and then she found a publisher that was going to republish her early works, even though they were independently published before, right? So everyone's path looks differently. And I went up to her and I told her, I'm like, hey, I just want to say thank you for saying that, because like, I'm self-publishing right now, and I feel like there's like a stigma against that. So I really appreciate what you said. And she was like, yeah, no, you got to start somewhere. You got to just do it. And that was the point that I felt like a lot of people needed to hear, is that they just need to do it. And I understand that, like, again, sitting down and writing, putting in the effort, there's so much mental fears that go on for folks about writing. But again, if it's like, I feel like a lot of people who make it, um, like the one thing they say is like, okay, well, you just have to actually write something down, you know, and try and try and try and try and try and try until something eventually sticks. And it's funny because like even when I first published Cursed Fate through the small press that I separated myself from later on, I had somebody from college DM me who I never really spoke to a whole lot, but they were like asking me questions about like, oh, how do you get your book published? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, are you writing a book right now? And they're like, no, but I want to. And I'm like, well, you can't worry about step 25 until you start step 1. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I was more polite than that, trust. But yeah, so anyway, I thought it was interesting that there was a mix of those classes. And I found that a lot of, maybe not a majority, but a lot of people were kind of stuck in the where do I start or how do I hold myself accountable phase. There were people who were actively working on projects that were in like the middle stages too. I think that kind of made up the, I don't know if it was the bulk of folks. Well, I noticed that a lot of people weren't already publishing their stuff. That was my point. I felt a little bit like lonely in that conversation. And again, most people did not care. Most people, in fact, were curious about what I was doing and how I was going about it and stuff like that. So yeah, apparently the stigma against indie authors is a real thing. Again, but that was not from any of the instructors. They were all supportive and very helpful, and I learned a lot. So yeah, that was my experience at the Writers Festival with Story Studio Chicago. I had a great time. I learned a lot. I thought it was worth it. And if you are interested in doing something like this, I highly encourage it. Will I go to the next one next year? Who knows? But I had fun at this one. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm gonna try to get this up this week, and then I need to do what I read in October because it's November now. Oh my god, it's November now, so I have to get that one up, and then I'll post more serious videos later. But I'm kind of taking a little like self-indulgent me time in terms of video content creation right now. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to support me even further, you can always like the video, comment down below, share it with a friend, or subscribe to the channel. Please, please, please. That would help me out a lot. And until next time, thanks. Bye.